Hey guys, how's it going? So what am I working on now? Well, I got that Toyota Tundra back in the shop. This is that fuse. There's that cassette fuse. They call it a fuse block. And here, let me show you real quick what it is. So here it is. Here's the part number, in case you're interested. And this is that whole assembly that goes in here. Now this thing was actually only, it cost us like 24 bucks, I think it was. So, I mean, that's not bad. Honestly, I thought this thing was going to be a heck of a lot more money, to be totally honest with you. This one, it's got blown fuse right there. That's for the alternator. Yeah, so let's do this. Let's change the alternator out. Actually, there's a couple of choices on alternators. The parts store has them all. So what I'm going to do is, well, first off, you got to disconnect the battery. Well, technically, the battery's disconnected from the alternator, because that's it right there. The alternator itself is down here. You can just see the back edge of it right there, and I'm not quite sure how to get to it. I looked real quick, and the labor time really only calls for like 8/10 to change it. So how bad could it possibly be? Well, I've seen labor times be wrong before. But I'm going to start by taking off the air intake stuff, get that out of the way, so at least I can get to the belt. So let me start doing that. I'm not going to show you the entire process. But here we go. I'm just going to take off this little cover here, the air intake piece here, the air box. Just want to get it out of the way so this way I have a place to work. With the air box stuff completely out of the way, you have these vacuum lines that go to the power steering pump and to the throttle body, or intake manifold rather. Now these I'm going to move out of the way because I don't want to snap anything off here, because I got to unbolt the power steering pump too. Really just a squeeze clamp here. And then you undo this one hose, get this out of the way. The other hose I'm going to leave with it. And the tensioner itself is down there. I don't know if you can see it. Let's see if that helps at all. But there's the 14mm head of it. So let me loosen up this belt and then get the power steering pump out of the way. And it looks like there's should be 3 14mm. There's two nuts here. One nut here, and there should be one down below. I don't know if this bolt goes through and into the block. It might. It appears so. So we're going to find out. So, all right, let's start taking that apart. So I got my little tool here to release the pressure on the belt. I know it's kind of hard to see. It's very difficult to see, actually. And unfortunately, I can't really get any light down in there. Can I? Maybe that'll help. And there's the tensioner. See that? It takes the tension off like that, and I should be able to walk the belt off. Now it's funny, I was actually just on the phone with Ray and Chris from Motormouth Radio. I just did a phone call with them on air, and Ray was saying about how he does a lot of photos. I do videos, and how difficult it is to try to work one-handed, like so. And I was talking about, yeah, I gotta get holders and stuff like that for the camera. I gotta go to GoPros and whatnot. But anyway, it was an interesting conversation. And you can look forward to me actually being on air with them sometime in September. Don't know the dates yet. I will, but I'm going to actually be in the studio doing a show with the guys. So it was very cool. It's the first time I've ever done anything like that. So thank you, Ray, and thank you, Chris. I do appreciate that. So all right, the belt's off, and I'm going to work on getting that pump off. And there you have it. The pump is off. It's only one stud and 2 bolts. Now I got the bolts, and they're all 14mm headed. They came right out. No big deal. I had to unbolt the reservoir, so this way it could come forward with the hose. So this way, now I can move this up and out of the way somehow. Maybe zip tie this or figure something out to keep this out of the way. Maybe a bungee cord. So let me do that. But as you can see, now you can see the alternator. And there you go, with the power steering pump bungee corded out of the way. Here is the alternator. Got that 10. Now this is usually a live power right here, battery plus this, but I already have it disconnected over there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to disconnect this, and then I want to check this wire to make sure it's not grounded somewhere. I don't think it is, but I need to do that. There's one electrical connector to the back. I got to disconnect that. I got to take that harness guide piece, right, or that boom, whatever you want to call it, that holds it in place. I got to take that out, and I can't tell, but it looks like there's one nut right there, and then that bolt that you can see there, that's not for the alternator. There's one down there, hard to see. I think it's another nut, I can't tell. No, it is a nut, okay. So, but I got a funny feeling there's probably another bolt there somewhere that I got to find. So let me start doing that. Let me start getting this stuff undone. So there was one 14 underneath, so I got that 14 out, I got the 14 nut out, and I got the 12 nut out. So this should just slide forward. All right. And out. So really that was not a bad job at all to do, to get that out. All right, let me go get the right alternator. Like I said, there was a choice. I'm going to take this bracket off now. Let me go get the right alternator on its way, and let me check that wire real quick and make sure that it's not grounded somewhere, which I don't think it is. I'm pretty sure it's just the alternator that's shorted out. So now with the meter hooked up, you can see I got both ends hooked up. One end to that end, one end to that end. So I got good readings on here, and that's fine. So now how do I know it's not shorted? How do I know it's not shorted to ground? Well, I'm going to take this end. Doesn't matter which end I take, because as soon as I disconnect it, see it goes to ouch. My meter doesn't like that. But if I take this and I go to ground, like such, I still got no reading. Just to be on the safe side, let's go to body ground right there. I still have no reading. So that tells me that that wire is not shorted out anywhere. So, like I said, bad alternator. So what I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to put the new alternator in. I'm going to hook that wire up. I'm not going to replace the fuse just yet. I'm going to leave that temporary fuse in there just to see what happens. And just like magic, we have ourselves a new alternator. Believe it or not, nobody can get a new alternator for it. The only one you can get is a reman. This is 130 amp. That's what this vehicle had. So, like I always say, reverse procedure to install. So let me get this installed, and then we're going to do that quick test, and we're going to see what happens. And there we go. The alternator's all bolted up. So now I'm going to put the power steering pump back in place, route the belt, and put everything else back together. And then, like I said, we'll do that little quick test using that fuse jumper that I have in there, make sure that that's okay, and then we'll be good to go. And as you can see, the belt is on, the power steering pump is on, everything's all tightened up. I got to put the power steering reservoir back in place, tighten that up. Like that. The hoses are routed back in their retainer. So that's all good. So now we get the air box in, let's get the wiring back in place, let's get the snorkel back in place and get everything bolted down, and then we can test it out, make sure everything works. Alrighty, so everything's assembled. I didn't put the new fuse in yet. I just dropped something, probably a piece of the wire, whatever. Yeah, so I got the alternator hooked up on this end. As you can see, the fuse is still good, so let's start it up. Let's make sure everything stays together, which, I mean, it should. I'd be willing to bet, well, actually, I'll tell you that in a second. I'm just trying to think of what happened. Charge light on, that means it's charging. Okay. So that's good, didn't blow the fuse. So I'm happy with that. That thing would have popped by now. Alright, let's shut this down. We're gonna fix that exhaust tomorrow. That's a lot of current too to go through this fuse. So actually I touched the side there and it was kind of hot. To be expected, but that's all good. So like I said, otherwise that thing would have popped already. Yeah, so I'm gonna get that assembled. But anyway, what I was gonna get at, what I suspect happened was, I think the alternator, the more I thought about it, I think the alternator might have gone bad, shorted that thing out, and then somebody tried jump starting this thing, jump started backwards and blew all those fuses. So that's what I think happened. Not 100%, that's what I think. So that's the only thing I can come up with that's a likely scenario. I mean, is it possible that somebody jump started backwards and it created all those other problems? Sure. I don't think so, but whatever. Alright, so that's actually going to end this video. I'm not sure, because I'm going to help them tomorrow by welding up the exhaust. I don't think I'm going to show any. I might show it, I might not, I don't know yet. It just depends, because technically I'm done here and I got to start packing my stuff up and get ready for a move. But yeah, so that's about it. if you look down in the description, you'll notice I have links to Amazon products. It's Amazon products that I use personally, and it's good stuff at a good price. And the number one thing on there, you'll notice, I believe it's the first link, is the, wow, I pulled the McConnell, brain fart, is the scanner, the launch scanner. That's the first thing on there. And that scanner is, I gotta say, it's phenomenal. I really, really think it's a great piece for the price. I really honestly do. And I'm so happy I bought it, because I tell you what, it's not failed me yet, and it's done it's going above and beyond my expectations, so I'm very happy about it. I'm not asking you guys to buy anything, but if you can, click on a link. If you click on a link, it helps me out. Just, it shows traffic and stuff. It's for future endeavors that'll help me out, and it'll help me with Amazon and stuff like that. So, all right, if you're getting something out of my videos, hit that like button. If you could, please subscribe. All right, guys, have a great day. Keep wrenching.